Everyone, call the meeting to order. This is our workshop meeting. We have a number of things to discuss tonight. Starting off with the request of Hobson Hudson to utilize the highway department area for the garage area for vendor parking on Saturday, June 29th. John was here at the last meeting and asked if he could purchase well, not purchase, but rent the entire municipal parking area for the day. I thought that it would be, actually Fran raised the concern about, locals, especially Riverview, not having any parking, which they rely on. So I suggested we get to the highway department, and John and I took a look at it. There's plenty of room. I think he can control it at the front. He's gonna have someone at the front along Fair Street and then inside. So all we got to do really is come up with a number. It's going to be quite a few parkings back there. He was going to do the parking lot, and we figured 400 and
17 or $18.
so what's 350?
350 sounds good.
Okay, he might have mentioned that. No, he mentioned low, and I go, come on, you're talking to me. Okay, so everyone fine with 350?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for John Shear and the Hobson Hudson to use the highway department parking for the fee of $350 for the day.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discussion on fees for not-for-profits holding ticketed events at Mayor's Park. We do have information this time in here, and I was talking to Ruth Ann before this meeting, before the meeting. Anyway, our schedules are fairly different, but the big question which she's asking was for non-for-profits. So for an instance, we went through what it would cost the Knights of Columbus for the days they wanted to have their Oktoberfest. So they had a Wednesday setup, they have a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, and then a Monday breakdown, and plus the pavilion, which came to, forgot to add one here.
$4,250.
I came up with $3,900.
We're in the ballpark.
What's that?
4,000.
So it's around 4,000 plus police. Obviously that's a big chunk of a not-for-profit's profits. So any thoughts on that? Their recommendation was $250 for a day, which I think is way too low. I mean, I'm willing to cut the fee, but I think that's too much. But that's up to you guys. That's my opinion. The other thing is, well, if you do something like half on that, we could do either a percentage discount, like 50% or 25 or whatever, cut from it. If it's a smaller event and it's only one day, it could be $750 or something. So I don't know if you want to cut that in half. Also, we could do a flat rate, and then according to their fee schedule, they have a public works staff. So that's a person that's working there for $32 an hour, and that's on their schedule. So it could be a flat rate plus $32 an hour and have the person there for the full time or whatever. So thoughts on that?
Dave, you said Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I thought they were just Saturday and Sunday. Are
So
they three days?
3 nights, yep. Wednesday setup, Friday 6 to 9, Saturday 12 to 8, and Sunday 12 to 6, and then Monday breakdown.
That's a big thing, right?
What's that?
Friday night is new, they never had Friday night.
That's what I.
They had Friday night, which he was selling as a locals or something like that.
And this is the Knights of Columbus.
This is the Knights of Columbus. Like that's what Roseanne told me.
Saturday,
I kept asking her
6
that.
to 8, Sunday, Saturday 12 to 8 and Sunday.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely the Knights.
And their regular price is $1,000 per day.
There's $1,000 per day, $250 for additional for the pavilion, and $32 for public works staff, which they figured was gonna be there full time.
And
Plus
then they
police.
said,
What's that?
Plus
Plus
police.
police,
Right.
yes,
and then they said set up and breakdown $250 per day.
yes. So we have Wednesday set up 250, Friday is 750,
Why is Friday 7:50?
because it's 200, well, not with their schedule, if we did our schedule, which is $250, they don't have an hourly rate on theirs.
Just per day.
They have a per day.
Excuse me, David, are we talking in general about it, or are we talking for the Knights of Columbus event
No, we're talking in
specifically?
general.
And the
A
Knights of
not-for-profit.
Columbus is just an example for this
Yes.
session?
Yes,
Thank you.
and we're talking Mayor's Park and not Dockside.
Yes.
The Hops on the Hudson total comes to 1,700 plus police and plus the parking.
And that's for one day.
That's for one day from 12 to 6, so that's 6 hours.
Okay.
Okay, but that's a full park.
That's for profit, but yeah,
All
that's just to
right,
give you an idea.
for the not-for-profit, what did Ruth Ann and their group is suggesting 250
Yes.
a day?
That's too low.
What if we just split it in half? For the day of the event and then, the setup or the additional use of the pavilion?
So that would be,
Just split those two fees in
So
half,
it'd be-
500 to 125 and 125.
What's that?
500
reduction.
for the Mayor's Park and 125 for the pavilion. And still the 250 per day. What's the security deposit?
No.
It's a
Oh,
set.
that's a security deposit.
I would leave the security deposit.
So if we're totaling it, do you wanna charge them 50% less?
50%.
50%.
Plus police.
Oh,
Plus
yes,
police.
absolutely.
Plus
Yes.
village public works staff.
Yeah,
And this doesn't show what the security deposit is.
it says 500 per day security deposit, right in the big box of profit.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
I would leave
I
the
looked right
deposit.
three
I
times and
didn't
I-
see it.
I-
Oh my
I
God. I
just found-
suggest leaving the deposit the same.
Because they're
Yeah,
gonna get
because
it
they're
back.
gonna get it
Because they're
back.
gonna get it back, and also that's our security against damage.
What about the setup?
Right. The
Okay.
security shouldn't be cut in half because
Yeah.
if there is damage.
Okay.
So to get us to be on the same page, we're including the setup and all of the days that I suggested here, which would be different, because if we go with their schedule, then it's gonna be almost the same.
Yeah, but
So,
they're saying per day, so,
right, so you wanna work with their schedule. The other thing is we gotta, when we don't have to do this tonight, is align our schedules. So if we go with their schedule, do they have they don't have a setup day, it's
they
$1,000.
do,
Yeah,
right, time
That's
proof.
250.
well, 250 for setup or
Setup and
50%?
breakdown days are 250.
Sorry, we don't wanna go for nonprofits.
I would go half,
50%,
50%, yeah.
Okay, so for right now, let's just do the total. It's like, so it's 250 for the breakdown, so then the Friday, regardless of the 3 hours, it's gonna be, that, according to their schedule, it's $1,000, right? Then it's another $1,000, and then it's another $1,000, and then it's another 250,
Yeah,
and then 250 for the pavilion,
per day,
right?
for 3 days.
Right, so we got 3,750?
Yeah, plus security deposit of, plus 500 for setup and breakdown.
Okay,
No, he's got the setup and
so
breakdown.
now if we,
Oh, okay, sorry.
since the hops when the hops were doing, they're going with our schedule on that,
Mhm.
okay? So if we went with our schedule on this, it would actually be, I think it would be
Okay,
lower.
wait,
No,
the
it would be
hops
the
are
same.
at Dockside, right?
No.
Yeah.
The hops is Mayor's
Oh,
Park.
okay.
The hops is Mayor's Park, okay.
But they're for profit.
Okay, so
That's a
the
problem.
one thing is, like, if we do 50% of 3750, I'm fine with that. I don't know if we should charge them then $32 an hour for public staff.
Yes,
You think we should?
yes,
Staff costs us the same one way or the other.
but, I mean,
Okay,
It should be our cost.
per hour, they're not there for 8 hours.
right.
That would be what the highway guys, right?
Right,
Well, it would be probably Bruce Campbell to make sure that it's set up or whatever.
oh,
That's the only thing we would need somebody for.
Oh.
They're dealing with everything else.
so it's the greeter,
It's kind of the greeter, that's what their staff, the public works staff is.
Okay.
It's not.
gotcha. Yep.
Rec department.
So in our 1,200 for when we're renting dockside, it's included in that, the
Yep.
greeter.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we should maybe include that in here.
Okay.
That's up to you, that's the question. We're not paying $32 an hour either.
So John would be paying $1,000 plus 500 for setup and breakdown,
Right,
plus the pavilion,
Mhm.
another 250. So he's paying 1,750 plus 500 security for one day.
Based on their prices,
Hmm?
based on their prices.
Right, and that's for the house. And for the Oktoberfest, it would be 1,500 for 3 days. Plus,
how did you get 750? We got 3 days at 1,000,
15,
3 days, sorry, I was going with the new.
that's 1,500,
1,500.
1,500 for 3 days,
right, you have 1,000.
this is hops,
Oh, that's
that's
hops,
hops, right.
right,
So,
the hops only, that's a for-profit.
right, so it would be 1,500 for 3 days plus 375 for the pavilion for 3 days, plus,
But we worked, I already sent him I sent John a schedule of what,
this is for the Knights of Columbus,
I know,
okay. So this is for hops,
oh, okay,
okay, and for the Knights of Columbus, it'd be 375 for the pavilion, plus, 250 for, sorry, I misdid this, no, I did it right, plus 250 for setup, breakdown, total. So it would be 5, 2, 1, 2125 plus security deposit.
this is for the nights,
Yeah,
and you came out with what?
2125. And that's based on $500 a day for 3 days for Mayor's Park, 375 for the pavilion, and 125 a day for the pavilion, plus a setup and a breakdown day, each at 125, for a total of 250, and that adds up to 2125,
Plus security,
plus security deposit for 3 days.
and then
It does not include
employees.
greeter, does not include cops.
Okay,
And we're not actually taking into account, they're setting up on Wednesday, so we're not
We are.
charging them for Thursday.
Right.
We are not,
Thursday, the park is
yeah,
out of our commission, so
Right.
so they've got possession of the park for a day that they're
Right.
not really
Right.
using it,
that's fine. Okay,
so that's not for profit. So we're basically going in,
so we're gonna tell, it'll be 50%, that's what we're gonna tell the
50%,
rec department, right?
except for the security deposit, which stays at 500.
Okay,
do you want me to follow up with you, Dan?
okay, if you'd like.
Yeah.
On the nights, ask her, make sure that they want the pavilions, I'm not sure which one on the pavilion, if it was the hops or nights.
Yeah,
I know the hops wanted it.
yeah, but the Knights, the Knights didn't use it last year.
Right, so they might not, so we'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Just to let them figure it out. Having fun yet? Okay,
Okay,
all right, so that's good. There was a,
do you want me to do the CUC now?
yeah, I'm gonna just want to check checking a couple of notes here. Okay, so on rec, should we recommend to them that they do an hourly rate charge also, or just leave it at a daily rate?
Well, that's a question of, Mayor's Park versus Dockside.
Right.
Because the way we're charging them are really dramatically different.
I would leave Mayor's Park the way they have it. I would
Leave it,
Yeah.
leave it where it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think they're fine.
Seems to work.
Yeah.
a little less work than we need to do. Okay, this is a request from CUC for trustees to review specific chapters. I think we all have received the information and it was on this.
And everyone has given me their names for specific chapters. There are a couple more chapters that need to be assigned. I'll get back to some of you to see if will take those on, but in my opinion, we've got the majority of it covered, so thank you all very much. Lynn, I'll be sending you, Word versions in markup format, Steve will do the same thing, so you can see, so you can see what the changes are that the code update committee is recommending.
Great.
Okay. Done.
Okay, next is the approval of the applications for Dockside Park, the Ascend Solstice. We've been going back and forth on this a number of weeks, forever, and the request for the fee reduction. So we do have a new application with actual hours. We have a problem, which I didn't see your revisions, Fran, but Fran made some changes to the document. One of the big problems is the word event. To everyone else, it seemed that if we've rented, the event was the whole day, or the day of the event, including setup or whatever you need to get there. They're reading it, they read it as the event being when the gate opens, or not even, when the
Performances start.
performances start, or whatever program started until it ended. So, and that's what we based a lot of things on. So, as far as that goes, the actual times they need is from 8 in the morning until 11 at night. So that's 15 hours, is that right?
Yeah, yes.
15 or 14,
15.
15? Okay. Then the next part that they told us, there was only 200 people. And then when Lynn said, well, that's not what she heard, and she's gonna be one of the vendors, they explained that, I guess it works both ways. They're playing both ways. That to vendors, they're saying there's a lot more people, so that they're interested. For us, it's less people, so that it doesn't look like that much of an impact. So there's actually 400 to 600, which to me is a huge difference, in the amount of people that'll be there. So those are the things that you should consider. If we go with our schedule, it was, there's no setup or breakdown day. They'll be doing it all in one day. So that would be $1,200 is for 12 hours, and then you would have $250, you'd have $750, that would be for 3 extra hours they're gonna need, for their setup, and breakdown, and I think that's it for us, right? Is there anything
Yeah, the
else?
portable toilets remain.
Yeah, and that's them and whatever they wanna do with them, that's,
And the
You said they
dumpster-
use them for the film.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the portables. And the dumpster remains and will be removed, Monday.
right. So they have a total of $1,950 if we went with our fee schedule. They're asking for a reduction and citing other venues and citing their experience and whatever. I don't know if you ever read their letters.
I did.
Yeah.
I have,
Well, we were starting at 1,200 last week, so now we're starting at 19. Is that what you're?
yes,
Okay.
since we have correct
Correct.
information now, so. I don't know. Thoughts on this one?
Well, we were willing to give them $200 off last week, so
We
does that
never
still
got
apply?
to, we never got to a figure last week.
I thought we were all okay with 1,000. I thought we didn't even vote on it because we
We
found
were-
the problems, but.
We were still in the discussion phase last
Right.
week.
$1,000, it did seem like everyone was okay with, and then we got some other information, so we put it on hold,
Right, that's how I remember it.
yeah.
So what would it be if we just went with the schedule that the prices?
1,950,
1950?
because it's 1,200 for 12 hours, and then the
So not
additional
a
3
total.
hours at $250 an hour. So 1,950. Thoughts?
I was just making faces.
That's good.
Well, when Hudson River Expeditions asked for a decrease in the rental fee,
Mhm,
we did entertain that,
mhm.
and we did suggest that we could lower it to 50% of what it would have been, which was in the $5,000 range, and we were going down to 2,500. That was my remembrance of the Hudson River Expedition. So,
But we're talking apples to oranges on that one. I mean, there was 40 people versus 400 people.
But they were also 4 days.
And we were
before.
and we were charging them for, they weren't hardly gonna be there, so in my mind, if I was gonna, you know, I would give them 50% or was thinking of that because of the amount of impact that was gonna be on the park. I mean, they were gonna come drop off the stuff and be in the river. They were going up the whole next day, they were gonna be out of the park, but we were charging them $1,200 and they were camping over, and then they were camping over and leaving.
Yeah, but their stuff was gonna be in the park, we would not have use of the park
Right.
for the 4 days that they were gonna be there, so,
During a week,
you
days.
know, the difference between 1 day of 400 people and 4 days of 40 people where we still don't have access and they have tents and they have a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't think we can sort of nickel and dime this as to what kind of an event it is.
Right.
I think we need to be just,
I'm just saying, if we were thinking, well, in my mind, when I was thinking of boats and 40 people, I was more inclined to cut a break.
There's a lot less
Than
people
full
walking around.
impact with, you know, the need for someone there, the need for
Dumpsters and bathrooms,
everything.
Well,
live music as well, right, there's gonna be people.
sorry,
well, this is also gonna have that.
yeah, I think both of
No, I
them are
meant-
required.
It's a lot different, yeah.
My inclination is to cut them a break.
Under the, and they did say in their letter that they understand that this is a one-time break if we cut it, and it's not gonna carry forward. I think we're in the learning curve too, because of, this is new for us, so I'm inclined to cut them a bit of a break too. I'm not sure I wanna go 50%.
Might I just suggest in our thinking about all of these events and how we charge people? I think we've got a great fee structure as it is, but also, I think something that informs that is the impact on the park itself by each individual event. I mean, like you mentioned before, Dave, that 40 people coming and going with kayaks, being gone mostly, is gonna have a lot less impact on the park itself, trampling the grass, whatever, litter, whatever, than 400 to 600 people. That's very different,
No doubt.
so.
You're right, I compare that to the following weekend when we expect 2,000 people in the park. And they will trample a lot of grass.
Certainly.
And doing yoga, those yoga people are like twigs, they're very, very light.
Yeah, but they use those mats that crush up the grass, so. Anyway, I'm not really comfortable voting on this. I just wanted to suggest that we think about, factor in impact when we,
But the
and it's not just impact on the park, it's impact on the neighborhood, because, we've got 400 to 600 people coming and going through a very tight little traffic area too.
yes,
And they're gonna be there till 11 o'clock at night.
well, they're gonna be cleaning up, right,
Oh, and that's,
the
yeah.
event ends at 9 o'clock.
Okay, that means traffic is gonna be going in and out past Laura Berman's house at 11 o'clock at night.
So,
So that's not a difference.
however, we don't consider the traffic impact when renting the park.
Yes, we do. We definitely, we have 10 cars that we say are allowed in the
Yes.
park. And this is gonna have vendors, we don't know how many to start with.
Uh-huh.
There's gonna be a stage, there's gonna be bands, there's gonna be music, there's going to be,
All of which we recognize
uh,
as something that will occur in the park.
right, I'm fine with that,
There's a
yes.
stage, set up and breakdown,
Right.
tents, et cetera.
But you're saying that the reason why I think the conversation started, that we were discussing, that we were talking to the Hudson Peddlers, or River Paddle, whatever,
As a
that we were cutting them a break,
Yes.
and so that we should cut we should cut
Yep.
this application a break.
Yes,
And I'm saying that it's the impact on the park is incredibly different.
But I think,
Yeah.
I'm still of the opinion that, in our first year as we're learning and getting out the kinks of this whole thing, that I'm not immune to cutting people breaks. amendment, you know, for us to say, you know, these people are gonna have more of an impact on the park than the other people, yes, it's a different type of event. There's more people, but they're not gonna be trimming, you know. And I don't think that we can start nickel and diming and saying, well, this event, this application says 400 people, because then we're gonna have people who are gonna give us applications that say 100 when they really need 500.
Or
And then we're gonna
1,000.
run into that problem,
Yeah,
Well, they already tried that.
yeah.
So then if someone comes in and has 2,000 people, which I
I
think
mean,
is
I
our
think-
cap, we're gonna say that's fine, it'll be the same.
And I
No,
think,
no.
Why not?
sorry.
Why wouldn't you cut someone if we cut them that said the Hudson Paddler, tell me why the next person that comes in and with an application that says, I wanna have an antique fair, there's gonna be 2,000 people here,
Yeah.
I mean,
we'd like half
And,
off.
and if
And
this
you're
is,
gonna say that's fine.
no, sorry, I think this is different, as Hudson River Expeditions was different. Hudson River Expeditions attempted to use the park last year, and we didn't do that.
Mhm,
They, the Ascend did use the park last year
mhm,
for a specific fee,
mhm,
and they would like to use it again this year.
mhm.
They,
They were given the fee in advance.
and they incorrectly calculated or whatever, and they're asking if they can do this a second year at a reduced rate, and they are not looking for the reduction in the third year. So I'm just saying, of the two that have come to us and said, we tried last year and we'd like to do it again this year, but can you give us a break on the rate? If somebody comes along and says, I wanna do an antique show with 2,000 people expected on July 15th, we go to the original schedule. This is not something that we don't have a history with the group that's asking for an antiques fair.
I think it's a stretch to say we have a history.
well,
They
I mean-
rented from the park, and New York State parks notoriously don't charge
Yeah,
people.
but
We spent a lot of time on this, and we're trying to improve the park.
We need the revenue to
So-
improve the park.
I'll end it. It sounds like, Steve?
Well, last week we were looking to, we were gonna give them, basically I added up a 50% discount if we gave them $1,000 instead of 1,200. So if we offered them 15% discount on the 1,900 or whatever, that's like around $300 or something like that. That would be doing the same thing we were talking about doing last week, and it's a one-time thing, so that would keep it consistent with what we were talking about last week.
And the reason why we're giving a reduction is because they rented from the park, from New York State parks last year. That's the reason.
Yes,
And so the park, and the schedule we came up with and its value is trumped by them having an application in last year.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that when they advertised for this event, they did not take into account the new fee schedule.
How could they not take into account when I gave it to them months and months and months in advance? I mean, I sent it to them, I gave them it specifically, told them it specifically that the fee was gonna be what it is, most likely. That the other things might change.
Right. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, I have no idea why we're giving them a reduction, so. But what do you guys wanna give them? I say we give it to them for free, because they live right down here. And they're
They
trying to
don't-
make money, they should
don't
make
live-
money.
They don't live right down here.
Oh, that's
don't
right,
live in the
they
village.
don't.
Yeah, they live
They
up
don't
on
live
the
in the
mountain.
village.
Whatever you wanna give them, let's go, let's get it over with. I wasted way too much time reading and writing letters and working on this thing, which I am really inclined never to do again.
This is the last time.
This is the last time, till the next person comes and we get an excuse and we'll get it done. So whatever, what do you guys wanna do?
15% brings them down to 1,650, is that what you're offering?
Yes.
No, I think it should be lower than that. If you're gonna give them a discount.
If you're gonna give
Well,
them a
that was
discount,
last week's
give them a discount.
Yeah,
That-
whatever
I
Marie
mean-
wants, let's go.
Oh!
Let's go, I'm serious, I wanna end this discussion now.
I put out 1,200.
I'll go with 1,200.
Steve?
Fine.
I'm gonna abstain, since I'm a vendor.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna abstain because they're my friends.
I know them too, so
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
1,200.
great.
So motion to reduce the fee to $1,200
For
from.
this year only.
this year
Yes.
only from 1950.
Yep,
Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
aye.
And 2 abstentions.
So-
Might I say,
Too close.
I think we should publicize the fact that we are not inclined to consider reduction in fees anymore.
Unless it's someone we really like.
Well, I think you should be
That
ready.
lives in the village.
Right, naturally.
I think you should be ready for John Shear, although this is not the Dockside Park, it's a park owned by the village. He
He's all
came
over it.
last year and, you know, tried to do the hops and then didn't do the hops, so.
Okay.
You argue, and you can sit here and the night when he comes, I'm gonna go out the door. You guys can
Coward.
discuss that. No, I'm not a coward, I'm smart. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Where are we? Sewer.
Correspondence.
So somebody want to send the Marzolas a note saying that the total was 1950
Yes.
with their hours and.
I'll talk to Jeff about it tomorrow.
All right, where are we? I missed my,
You have this.
I don't have my agenda page. It's got mixed, there we go. Okay, correspondence, request to credit the sewer account. Marie, you did some homework on this one? Or
Yes.
no?
Yes, when the village installed the sewer lines, the village published, in a number of different manners, the village published the laws, a local law, connection to the sewer. That was in 1972. And at the time, people were told that they had to connect to the sewer, and they would be taxed, they would receive the sewer tax regardless of whether or not they connected to the sewer. The sewer rent, not the sewer use. Your particular property, I'm familiar with, I've visited it multiple times by the previous owner, and did some checking. The previous owner, Catherine, did have a septic tank. She had it serviced regularly, and it was, your street was one of the last to get the sewer line in. And to the best of everyone's knowledge, Catherine was the only person that did not hook up to the sewer. And we understand that in your construction, there was damage done to your septic tank and your leaching fields.
Was there also conversation with Greg?
Yes. Greg Phillips, Commissioner, is aware that there are other properties in the village that had the same circumstances you did. They found out that they weren't connected to the sewer when they were doing some excavation or whatnot. The village does not review any of the documentation that is provided by real estate brokers. So, however, your property was listed as being connected to the sewer or not being connected to the sewer, the village takes no part in that. I'm surprised, sorry, the village takes no part in that. So, one of the things we might consider for Mr. Silverstein is that the rent, since the previous owner chose not to connect, the previous owner was paying the sewer rent. We might consider reimbursing to Mr. Silverstein the sewer use that you have been paying since you purchased the property. So that's an alternative that we can look at.
What's the total on that?
Fran, I know you did an
I
analysis.
did it, and I unfortunately could not find it this afternoon, I'm sorry, I do
I
apologize.
mean, if I could speak, it's, the number you're asking is, I think it's basically $60 a quarter it averages out to be for 8, right? That's what my sewer bill is about $55 to $60 a quarter.
Okay,
So times 8 years or 8.5 years, it comes out to about $3,800. Rough calculation.
Okay.
Part of that is the sewer flat fee, which Maria's been saying, and with what has been happening in the village and what it's done with others is you pay the flat fee because you're in the sewer district, whether or not you're hooked, but you don't
Right.
pay for the usage.
Right.
So I do
I
have,
don't
and I
know,
do
I don't know the
apologize.
breakdown.
I do have the list from Ann, and I apologize because, I got into other things today and did not get to it, but I can get to it. There is a breakdown,
Yep.
the difference between the flat fee, which you need to pay, and the usage, which is an automatic charge, which we can reimburse you for, give you credit for.
I-
Yeah,
I-
whatever the consideration is, would be greatly appreciated.
So, just for your information, both the water and the sewer have two components.
Yeah,
There's a rental, and for both the water and the sewer, there are different prices.
right.
And then there's a use for water. And the use for sewer is based upon 50% of the use for water. The assumption being that whatever
Right,
comes
okay.
in, goes out, if you will.
Yeah,
Pardon the, so the sewer use, fee is less than the water use fee by 50% of the volume.
right.
And we can get that to you. Sorry, I know Fran had it.
I do apologize.
Okay. I mean, that sounds more than, because the water fee is usually a lot higher. I mean, I don't visually remember what the bill is, but that sounds like it would be more than what I'm actually asking for, unless I'm misunderstanding.
We would never do that. No, I will, if you can give me an email address, I will send you the spreadsheet breakdown
Sure.
of the
Yep.
the flat fees and the usage, and then,
I've emailed Jeff directly,
so he will have
and
it.
so he could, he has it.
There's one other
Versus-
component on your water and sewer bill, and that's the cellular endpoint, the Badger connection,
Mhm.
and that's a flat fee every quarter. It's in the, I'm gonna say it's in the $2 a quarter range, something like that.
And
Which is water usage related.
Yeah, okay,
It's not
It,
sewage.
yes, it monitors your water use.
right.
and I believe the other piece of this, which Greg had mentioned when we talked to Greg about this, as you hook up now to the sewer system, there is usually a $750 fee to do that, which we would waive.
I appreciate that, if
And I
they
will,
cover that.
I will verify that with Greg, and I
That
think,
Greg had recommended that, yes.
Is that the permit?
You found
fee
these
or-
guys on a very generous night. This has never happened before.
we're not letting Dave talk. Yeah, that was,
Good move, bringing the kids.
Yeah, the kids are great. They're quiet, they're excellent. That's another $200.
You're right,
They can
Fran.
sing and
You
dance.
got a t-shirt for him?
It's
Sure.
It's $750,
Yeah,
and it will be waived.
and I will, I'll cross-reference with Jeff to get your email and double check on the $750, and I'll give you the whole breakdown.
okay, yeah, I mean, whatever the credit is, would be appreciated.
And then we'll vote on that next, once we have the numbers.
Okay, I'm looking at about a $12,000 bill connecting to the sewer line, which they're,
Does the tank have to come out and everything? Like, what's the rule on that?
no, I mean, I think we're just going to empty it and, what's
The dirt.
Yeah.
Crush it.
crush
Turned it into a pool.
Yeah, they would
Jacuzzi.
they would like that.
Jeff, I can commiserate with you. I was putting an addition on my house. The first day of excavation, the backhoe ripped the top off my septic tank.
Hmm,
I said, what septic tank?
right,
I went back to the person who sold me the house, and he said, what septic tank? We concluded that the septic tank hadn't been emptied in almost 20 years.
wow, wow,
And because of the way the
Beats
construction
us.
was, I had two options. I could go out to Route 9D, or I could go to Grandview. Grandview was the further distance, but the fee for doing
Or
an
the
opening, a street
9D,
opening on
yeah.
a New York State
Yeah.
highway was, so I went out the other way.
yeah,
So I'm very sympathetic.
okay. All right, well, thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks.
Well, I'll get that to you.
Thank you guys for being so good.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Come back again and visit us. Yeah.
Have a good
You're
day.
tired. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Okay, next, under correspondence, a letter from Putnam County Historians. They're honoring Mark Farlow, who's our historian and works with the Putnam History Museum. Unfortunately, it's at 10 o'clock in the morning, but Putnam County Historian's Office will honor Cold Spring historian Mark Farlow, along with other municipal historians at Putnam County Day, Putnam County Day, Friday, June 14th at the historic courthouse in Carmel. This year marks the 100th anniversary since then New York Governor Alfred E. Smith established the role of local historians to help record the stories of returning service members following World War I. Since that time, local government historians like Mark have been preserving, interpreting, and presenting local history. We plan to commemorate the special homecoming celebration with 100 years old and recognize the importance of today's historians in municipal service. We hope you will join us. As I said, it's at 10 a.m.
I didn't think he was a Cold Spring, he's the Phillips
He's in
Town.
Phillipstown.
Oh, Phillipstown. Does Cold Spring have one?
No, I didn't think so, that's
No.
why,
Not since the last
That's
person
why-
retired.
I look at the letter and I said,
Yeah. Okay, next is Cold Spring Fire Company, their request to close Church Street.
I got their letter here, if you want me to read it.
Main Street, sure.
It's a good one, several paragraphs.
Wow.
Dear Mayor Morandi, the Cold Spring Fire Company #1 requests permission to close Church Street on Friday, July 26, 2019, from 4 p.m. till 9 p.m. for their Junior Firefighter Academy graduation ceremony. They'd like to block off Church Street from the back wall of the firehouse to Main Street so they can use the area to barbecue and keep the firehouse clear of vehicular traffic while we have our graduation ceremony. Church Street residents will have access to their homes from Northern Avenue. Last year, you accommodated us with the assistance of Officer in Charge, Larry Burke. There were no known issues that the fire company is aware of at this time. Please let me know what other additional information you may need to approve this. Thank you. And the village board for the in advance for your cooperation in this matter. Lily Moyer, Secretary.
Well done, Steve.
Yeah.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion to grant request for permission to close Church Street Friday the 26th, 4 to 9 p.m.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
do we need to confirm with Larry
Confirm with Larry,
that he
The
can
date.
support this?
sure.
Hmm?
Yeah, I gotta talk to Larry, so I'll talk to him.
Okay,
Do you want the letter, Dave?
No, I haven't,
Okay. Of course.
not as fancy.
To you. Oh, no, I got it.
Look at you.
Okay, next is, proof hiring of, let's see,
Aiden Siegel.
Didn't see.
and recommendation from, Robert Downey Jr. Resume and application is in front of you.
Why is it from the Putnam County?
That's the one we always use.
Oh, really? I never noticed that before.
So with the recommendation of the Highway Department Crew Chief, I will make a motion to hire Aiden Siegel under the conditions specified in this letter for summer help, as a summer help.
I'll second that.
question, he says he doesn't have a license.
I know,
for
I saw
driver's
that
license.
also.
And Bogsy's okay with that?
He lives right in Rock Street.
I think, yeah, he's just.
So the same thing.
Part-time.
It's not a question of where he lives, but what can he,
Guess he's the only person that applied also, and he needs.
Labor.
He can dig and cut and.
Yep.
I guess Bogsy knows what he's doing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's firearm.
Who seconded that?
Amended.
Lynn, thank you. sorry, Lynn.
Next is request for highway department, water and sewer for summer hours schedule. The hours are starting at 6 o'clock and, I don't have that in front of me. It was from, instead of,
Yeah, instead of
7, starting at 6 and ending at 2:30.
2:30.
Yeah. As they've done in the past.
Yes.
Yes,
I'll make a motion to approve the, change in the, workday schedule.
I'll
Sec- go ahead.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Request for the Justice Court audit. Marie and Fran did it last year.
And we will do it again this year.
Yep.
Do we need to? do it in there?
Fran, do you wanna talk to Kathy and get a date? Mhm.
I don't think we need a motion on it, do
I don't think so.
we? Okay, next recommendation for planning board to grant, recommendation from the planning board to grant parking waivers to 15 Main Street, 4 spots. It's a letter here which I won't read, familiar with the property. It's on the recommendation of the planning board, so I'll make a motion to approve the, parking waiver for 15 Main Street as recommended by the planning board.
Second,
Discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Next is a request for waive of 30-day advance notice requirement for liquor license for Riverview Restaurant, which is a renewal, and Angelina's, which is new ownership. A question on that, have we done one for new ownership? I know we've done them for ones that have lapsed, but,
We've done them for new ownerships,
Marvin Brew.
Harbor and Brew and also Flower Farm.
okay.
Right.
So I'll make a motion to waive the 30-day advance notice requirement for the liquor license for both Riverview Restaurant's renewal and Angelina's new ownership.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
Can I ask why we keep getting this? Do they not know that they have to?
On the Riverview, I asked the same question, because I cringe when I get these. Jeff said that Jimmy came running in yesterday or something and realized that it was after the first of the month, and it expires the end of the month. So he missed it by the weekend and apologized. The other one, I can't speak for. And, yeah, I
Take
don't
over.
understand why business owners don't quite get their act together.
Yeah, the other one, the date the notice was sent was May 16th. Why we're getting it now? It appears as if they sent the form in advance of the 30 days.
I know there's been some open and close on that place. I've
Yes.
seen signs on the door that say,
Yes,
we're closed because we need
Yes.
to renovate the kitchen, or we're closed because we have problems.
yes.
So maybe they're having a hard time getting themselves together. And these things usually come to us through lawyers, I think. So,
Anyway,
We had a second, right?
yes.
Yes,
All in
Yes.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that, are we voting on both or just one?
I made it as one,
you
and
made
they,
it for both.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
wanna split it?
I don't know, I'll go aye. I don't know, I just think business owners who want to serve liquor need to comply with the requirements of the law. And not, you know, I mean, I understand Jimmy, just the date getting by him for his renewal, I understand that. But for a new operation, for a new operator, they know if they wanna serve alcohol that they have to provide this 30-day advance notice.
And it looks as if they conform to that. The
Okay.
date the notice was sent was May 16th. Why
Okay,
we're seeing it,
now,
now,
I don't know,
right.
yeah, okay. All right, so, aye.
Close.
5 ayes, Michael?
Yes.
Okay, it was a
okay, thank
conversation, I
you.
don't know if you heard that. Okay, approval of bills?
Okay, I move to approve batch number 5137 for an amount of $20,000, $20,079.64.
And that's in the last fiscal year.
Yes.
That batch is the last batch in the last fiscal year.
What's that?
It's the last batch in the last fiscal year. It's fiscal year
Oh.
2018, 2019.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
And now I move to approve batch number 5138 for an amount of $27,239.02 for the first month of this fiscal year.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anything from the public? Anything from the board?
I will be absent next Tuesday.
Okay. Can I stop by and talk, Independence Day ads, or what we can do, or what you can do for us, or what we
Sure.
can do for you, or whatever? We have a bunch of ads and stuff we gotta start getting in, so, whatever. Same with you, Mike, I don't know who we call.
It would be Michelle about ads.
What's that?
It would be Michelle Gedney about ads,
Okay.
and we've already talked about pies, so.
Yeah, one of the things we'd like to do is solicit the support of both newspapers to run an article about the pie baking contest. Last year was the first year we tried it, and we had some lovely entries. Awards were given, and pies were sold. And we're hoping for more entries this year, so we're hoping that the newspapers could put in an article about pie baking, at,
Surely it would be un-American to not support pie baking.
thank you,
Absolutely.
thank you.
One other thing, if I could ask both of you, is the CCA seems to be, I don't know if you guys are planning on doing anything on that, but there seems to be a lot of people shaking heads, angry people have no idea what's going on.
Lack of information.
Lack of information, I guess, would be best. I don't think the CCA really held out their end of the bargain of notifying people stuff, or it has been in both your papers a number of times since 2016. And so, but now, I've had people come up to me and say, what is this, as usual?
They haven't really engaged in a public
Yeah.
education campaign that might cost them any money.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems that way.
And the letter that went out was not as robust as it could have been in describing the effect on electricity users in the area. The questions I've been getting mostly are, so the electricity isn't gonna come in over the Central Hudson lines anymore, which is not the case. But that, and then the follow-up to that is, what happens if there's a power outage? And the answer to that is no difference.
Although I think a lot of that's clear in that letter that they sent out.
You think,
Yeah.
okay,
The
It
confusing
is.
part of it too is that, I don't know if anybody else got a letter, but I also got a letter
Right.
from another
a second company,
Yeah.
right.
that wants to supply us power and
And
Purports
all you
to-
gotta do is sign here,
Yeah.
and you're in.
so it came the same week, so it
confusion.
Central Hudson
understandably
sent
people
one out
would
as
be
well.
confused.
What's that?
Central Hudson sent one
They
out as
did,
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Intentionally, from what, those guys said. Anyway, if, any kind of, I'd like to get some more information out there somehow.
I mean, the CCA, the CCA guy is usually in here on Thursdays. Now, I don't know if he will still be here.
He's a great guy,
Jeff.
but normally when utilities do this, they engage in a campaign that is more robust than a couple of stories in a couple of papers
Or reporting on a story, not even
that,
in the
that
story.
actually involves buying some advertising.
They did none of that.
Yeah, and they
Which
didn't do.
They don't wanna do.
They didn't do a public meeting, which I thought they were going to do, being available here, when people don't know that. Or sending out emails.
Meeting at the firehouse, now that it's been
Well, they did
inspected.
have a lot, initially, they had a lot of meetings at the church, and they had them in every city that was involved
But the
leading up to us
communication-
We had
signing.
one local one here.
No, they had several.
The
It was-
communication for those
but it was
meetings was
not-
sent to the list that they had on hand.
But once we signed, they stopped, and they weren't anymore.
Yeah.
So,
That might be the key transition point.
Yeah, gee.
Yeah.
And the residents are basically, how dare the village make this decision for me, and,
Saving us money. Damn them.
yeah.
Well,
and
here's a question. Do you folks still believe it's a good idea?
I do,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
do. On a number of
Yeah,
fronts.
it's just the problem with their advertising and getting the point across is what they're complaining about,
And-
not so much the service that they're offering.
Well, and I think, some people resent the fact that somebody's making money, which, it's their business. Jewel's making money. When they came in here, you're making money. I'm not gonna, hey, all the power to you. If you wanna lower my, the amount that we're lowering it is really insignificant. But it's coming from, better sources and
More
I think.
environmentally conscious
Yeah,
sources.
and I think that's important, and I think if it's lower, and I think it actually, informs people of where electricity actually is supplied from, not Central Hudson.
And if you look at the three prices that are available, the Central Hudson price is the highest. The Jewel price, that is the environmentally conscious power, is slightly lower. The other Jewel price is, I'm gonna say it's at least 10% lower. So there are three price points that you can choose from in the letter.
But all of that could have been explained in a meeting of finance, with some charts and some very easy, and granted,
No one would've went to that.
knowing that, yeah, but at least I couldn't have said they didn't try. This is a small village, you would have had some people go to it.
Well, there was pretty good turnout in the beginning, and then as the meetings went on, less people showed up.
Just a question, after we were approved, did Jules send, after we approved this, did Jules send either of you guys a press release about that?
Not that I know of.
It was a story, because we talked about it in here, but that was it.
I don't think so. We wrote at least one story after it was approved off that meeting. I think we put it on one.
Just seems like something that would be an appropriate move for them to do, after that.
Right.
So.
I'll follow up with a letter or something, I'd like to get something out
I've
there.
been talking to him,
What's
so,
that?
I've been talking to him, that's what I was gonna say, he's manning the phone bank, which he says a lot, there, we got an email about that, I don't know if you got that one, but, a lot of people have been calling in and they've been explaining things over the phone to them, because the phone number is provided in the mailing, I guess. But he said that's starting to slow down too, so I guess.
Well, it might be better if it's coming from somebody on the board and not them, because they're under suspicion anyway of
Okay.
doing something nefarious.
Well, he's sending me, some information, and I'll write something, make a nice general description of the information he's sending to me, and then maybe we can use that,
All right,
so.
all right,
May I make a motion to adjourn?
no, you may not.
I'll second the motion when we didn't make it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.